Welcome to Boothbury Park, the home of Hull City, for today's Phillips Video Yorkshire Cup final between Hull and Hull Kingston Rovers. A derby final that has captured the imagination of this Humberside city and looks like being one of the great games of the season. Well, the teams have already been presented to the officials, and here are the rundown of the two sides. And as we look at Hull Kingston Rovers, their team: George Fairbairn, Gary Clark, Ian Robinson, Gary Prome, David Laws, Mike Smith and Paul Harkin at half-back, Mark Broadhurst, Watkinson, Zook Emma, Chris Burton, Andy Kelly, David Hall, and the subs Steve Hartley and Chris Rudd. And the Hull side, well, their team: Gary Kemble at fullback, James Lulai, Gary Schofield, Steve Evans, Dane O'Hara, Fred Accoy, Peter Sterling, Phil Edmonds, Sean Patrick, Lee Crooks, Steve Norton, Wayne Proctor and Gary Devotti, with the subs David Topless and Paul Rose. And from our unusual vantage point here on top of the south stand at Boothbury Park, we look down with Hull Kingston Rovers about to attack this end of the ground. Lee Crooks having won the toss and elected to play towards the majority of the Hull fans and away from the Rovers fans, and it's Dane O'Hara with the first run, but running straight into Burton. O'Hara going down, Patrick at acting half, and Patrick running off, but Emma and Watkinson alert to that, quick to spot it. Edmonds and Burton in there once again, and Rovers racing round trying to steal the ball, but Edmonds not having any of that. Patrick shows the ball and Sterling will kick, and the long deep kick and into Rovers half, where George Fairbairn fields the ball. Fairbairn tries to wrong foot Schofield but goes down to that tackle. Schofield with the assistance of Crooks. Now Harkin showing the ball to Emma, and Emma once again tackled by these Hull defenders coming in hard. Broadhurst, and this likely to be the pattern of the opening 20 minutes. Neither side will want to give anything away at the start of this cup final. Now Watkinson to Harkin trying the kick, and a good kick too, deep into the Hull 25, but well gathered there by Gary Kemble, but Mike Smith quickly up, and Mike Smith and Ian Robinson together bring him down. O'Hara and a knock on there from Proctor, coming in a bit too short on that pass, and this a chance for Rovers. They'll have head and ball at this first scrum and would obviously hope to win it. And indeed they do, and Harkin just drops on the ball. Evans and O'Hara quickly in. David Hall at acting half. Hall, Robinson going in strongly. Once again Crooks and Patrick together. Good tackling by the Hull defence at this stage, with Rovers putting on this early pressure. Emma. Harkin to Hall, a long pass to Mike Smith, and he just can't quite gather it. The ball bobbling away from Mike Smith, and Lulai very grateful to drop on that. And now Gary Devotti, back after injury. Gary Devotti tries to run out, but Rovers swarming round. Patrick, Sterling, and in fact there's a penalty this time. It's offside against David Hall. The referee Fred Lindop waving Rovers back, and a chance for Hull to ease the pressure in these opening moments. Gary Schofield shielding the sun from his eyes, having a look just where he wants the ball to go. And Gary Schofield will look for a good touch, but in fact he sliced that one and it's gone away and only just reaches the edge of the 25. So not a good kick by Schofield, and nervy moments perhaps for Hull at the start of this final. Devotti missing out a man. Crooks looking to slip the ball but can't get it away. Now Devotti again. Devotti finding Schofield, such a danger man. Rovers having to close down quickly on Schofield. This young man can score tries from any part of the field. Now Steve Norton showing the ball. Norton still going. Norton slipping the ball to Patrick, and a chance for Hull, but Patrick running straight into Watkinson, and Watkinson and Harkin together get the Hull hooker down. Edmonds, Sterling to Accoy. Once again Rovers in quickly. Broadhurst and Burton. Patrick getting it away to Sterling, and the ball goes down. Sterling and Mike Smith there just having a little clash. The referee has decided there was a knock on there, and it's going to be a scrum down, and once again I think Rovers will have head and ball and a chance to regain possession and perhaps put some more pressure onto the Hull defence. And indeed Rovers have got the ball. Harkin having to scramble a little bit, but he's got it in the end. Hall and Emma coming in. Not much room as Rovers trying to find a position. Watkinson to Broadhurst going strongly, and a good tackle coming in there from Sterling. Now Rovers again, David Hall once again falling to two tacklers, both sides obviously not wanting to give anything away. Now Mike Smith having to come back inside. Mike Smith to Broadhurst, chance here for Rovers, but Broadhurst goes down to that tackle from Crooks and Patrick together, and this time Harkin with the kick, and the high kick plays underneath, and Gary Prome only an inch or two short of the line, and well, that move so similar to the one that brought him a try in the Derby game at Craven Park, and he had to give the ball away, but Lulawai drops it. David Laws drops on it, and really a chance now for Rovers once again. Only a couple of feet now from the line. Burton trying to play the ball, not a good play of the ball. Harkin gets it away though to David Laws coming in strongly, goes down to a tackle from Crooks. Harkin to Mike Smith, a good long ball, but no one there to take it. It's finally passed on to Robinson gets it away to Fairbairn to Clark, and Clark is going here, and Clark, well, the defence getting over. O'Hara just did enough. Kemble was there, and Clark is stopped just again a couple of yards short, but good pressure this from Rovers in the opening stages of the game, but already on to the last tackle, and the long ball this time, and it's going to be kicked high into the air, and much too high by David Watkinson, and that's going to be a drop out, or rather a tap out on the 25 for Hull, and a chance to for Hull to get out of their own half, which they haven't yet managed to do, and Rovers will look back on that near miss of Gary Promes perhaps and wonder if they shouldn't be in front at this stage. Anyway, still time yet, as Norton once again finding Rovers tackling so sharp. Sterling to Accoy. Mike Smith in on the New Zealander, but Accoy gets away this time. Accoy looking for support, finds Devoted. The referee says no knock on. Lee Crooks picks up, and Hull once again. Norton, a long ball, good knock. Oh, it's fallen a bit short, but a chance still for Gary Schofield. Gary Schofield to Lulawai trying to come inside. Phil Edmonds having to check away, and Edmonds loses the ball in the tackle, and Chris Burton it is who drops on the ball on the halfway line, and a chance once again for Rovers, who have had the best certainly of these first few minutes, to come on to the attack. Well, did he knock on it? Well, it certainly looked like it from here, but the referee said no. He said he called it again. Watkinson. Harkin to Broadhurst once again. Proctor well in there. Mike Smith. Harkin showing the ball. Harkin trying to get the ball away. Not a good pass, and Evans it is who tidies up for Hull. Accoy. O'Hara coming inside, and Hull looking for their first real attack. Sterling, so much depending on Sterling today perhaps. Now Campbell linking up well from fullback, but not a good pass again, and it's Gary Prome who knocks it back towards his own line and gathers. Schofield in quickly, and Hull making quite a few mistakes, and this time the penalty will be to Rovers. It's an offside decision, and a chance for Rovers to find perhaps a good attacking position inside the Hull half. George Fairbairn just glanced at the post, decides it's too far for a kick at goal. So an early 2 points would be very welcome to either side. Fairbairn will try to plant this into touch, and indeed he does, and a good kick by George Fairbairn finding touch inside the Hull 25. Now Watkinson. Emma driving forward, but Crooks and Edmonds both in there. Watkinson again. Watkinson to Harkin to Hall. Well, he thought about the pass to Burton, had to take the tackle. Harkin Directing players over. Broadhurst coming short, coming straight. Gets the ball away to David Hall. David Hall gets inside Hall. Hall, good ball to Fairbairn. Fairbairn coming through Robinson, and Robinson's in, and that's the first try. Ian Robinson it is who scores the try for Rovers, and what a good try it was. David Hall managing to wriggle away from a couple of defenders. Rovers moved the ball along the line. Fairbairn came in, found Robinson, and Robinson powered over, and those Rovers fans really happy for this start. 9 minutes gone. Kingston Rovers go 4-0 in front, and the chance for George Fairbairn with what is not an easy kick to perhaps stretch the lead to 6-0. But a good start for Rovers. They've had all the pressure in the opening minutes. They've done all the attacking, and really a deserved lead at this stage. So Fairbairn, well, what is he, some 5-6 yards maybe in from touch. Not an easy kick, particularly for the right-footed player, but he's kicked goals from this position before. Now Fairbairn lines it up, but no, it's not going to make it. It's wide and perhaps a bit short. And so after 10 minutes now of the game, Hull FC 0, Kingston Rovers 4. So it's Lee Crooks trying to catch out Rovers, but Laws awake to that, but runs straight into Sterling, and a good tackle by the Hull scrum half. A really good tackle, and Watkinson wanted a bit too much time there, and Sterling in quickly once again. Harkin to Broadhurst, and Devorty with Sterling coming over as Broadhurst tries to make ground, and Rovers channel it back this time, and Fairbairn will kick deep and long, and Gary Kemble well underneath it, but Mike Smith up quickly on Kemble, and Mike Smith does enough to get the fullback down. O'Hara switching it to Proctor, and Wayne Proctor just taking the ball forward, driving it up. Patrick to Crooks, and this time the offside once again against Ian Robinson and against Rovers, and a chance for Hull to perhaps set up their best attacking position so far, because they've really not shown a great deal, Hull, in these opening 10-12 minutes of the game. But a good kick this time, and an attacking chance at last for Hull. Now Sterling bringing in Edmonds. Rovers swarming round, making the tackle. Patrick to Norton carrying the ball forward. Once again 2 and 3 Rovers players get in hard. McCoy working a good move with Lee Crooks, and something on perhaps for Hull this time, because they're looking a bit sharper now. And Sterling showing the ball. Sterling, a good ball to Norton, and they must score. Proctor, and he's put the ball down. Well, Wayne Proctor, what a chance he had. Good play by Sterling and Norton, creating that gap. And Proctor, really, he should only have to take the ball, and he must have scored. Instead, he put it down. He knocked on over the line. And so it will be a scrum to restart the game, and Rovers gratefully take possession. That early lead so nearly wiped out David Hall. Harkin to Emma. Once again 3 men going on. Emma, this young prop, quite a respected player now. Broadhurst showing the ball. Rovers perhaps playing too much football there, and the last pass not a good one, went forward, and Rovers in some difficulty now on their own 25, and perhaps trying to play too much football in their own 25 there, and this could be a first possession for Hull, and it is indeed. And McCoy with Kemble linking up, and Robinson read that situation well, came in, made the tackle. The ball goes down, it's going to be a scrum down, and this time Rovers will have head and ball, and once again a chance for Rovers to relieve some quite heavy pressure. And the scrum wheels, and the referee says the ball didn't go into the scrum, and he's penalised Paul Harkin for that. and Hull in fact will be able to find touch, which Schofield does with a very good kick, and Rovers push right back to their own line, position of real danger. Now what can Hull do this time? Patrick showing the ball. Edmonds trying to crash over and in fact loses the ball, and Gary Clark it is who comes in, snaps that ball up. Fairbairn, oh, you have to run across the line. Made no ground, George Fairbairn. And Rovers really, after that blazing start, being pinned down now by Hull, struggling to get out of their own 25. Broadhurst slipping the ball, but doesn't do a great deal of good. Watkinson didn't really have much gap, and in fact it's David Hall who channels it back. Fairbairn with the long punt downfield, but Gary Kemble once again safely underneath it. Gary Kemble starts to come forward. Robinson makes the tackle, and Rovers will be happy just to have got out of their own 25. But here comes Sterling. They could soon be right back there as Watkinson comes in. Sterling brought down. Acoy to Edmonds trying to force his way through Kelly's tackle. Patrick, Norton standing up, showing the ball, gets it away. Devorty, but Devorty has no room before Broadhurst comes in, closes him down, makes that tackle. Patrick to Norton slipping the ball. Once again Perome it is who comes in this time to tackle Schofield. Luluai back inside, and Peter Sterling tries the bomb. It's a high kick, and in fact Fairbairn's lost it, but Gary Clark comes in, and really, well, that could have been anything because Fairbairn completely misjudged that kick. It went shooting away, but fortunately for him towards his own line, and fortunately for him Gary Clark was alert to it and dropped on the ball. But dangerous moments once again for Rovers as Andy Kelly has some treatment. Rovers temporarily down to 12 men. Broadhurst driving forward. Watkinson once again, the channel back to Fairbairn. This hasn't so far been a good move for Rovers because Kemble's gathered them all, but this time the ball runs away from him, and Gary Kemble will try and start a run going. In fact, Luluai comes in, and Luluai starts to break down the middle, but Watkinson tidies up, makes the tackle with Broadhurst. Sterling to Schofield getting away, and a good tackle coming in once again from Robinson. Sterling the long ball to Devorty a chance here, but the ball from Devorty to Crooks, difficult one, and the Hull captain can't take it, and Rovers with Emma coming back. And Emma, well, what can Rovers do this time? Broadhurst going across the line, showing the ball, but Edmonds and Schofield make the tackle. Broadhurst plays the ball, Perome, Harkin, Watkinson, and both sides really having to tackle really hard, really well. Hall with the long pass. Mike Smith comes in. Once again Proctor in well, a good tackle from Proctor, and Hall running the ball, and a good long ball from Hall to Robinson and Gary Clark. He's only Kemble to beat. He takes Kemble, he's round Kemble, but a good tackle from Proctor. Good defence from Wayne Proctor, and once again Rovers denied a try by a couple of feet, and they've had to give the ball away, and Gary Kemble is having treatment, or will have treatment in a minute. Gary Kemble is down there. Ray Norrie comes running on to him. Well, Gary Kemble injured, making that try-saving tackle, a superb tackle really, because Gary Clark was away, and Clark just had the one man to beat, and perhaps if Clark had tried to go on the outside he might well have got there instead of cutting inside, but still easier to speak from up here than it is to decide from down on the pitch. Kemble still having that treatment. To have got a knock on the forehead perhaps, and the referee just waiting for the treatment to continue. Gary Kemble gets up and will carry on. Patrick plays the ball. Lee Crooks runs it out, and good play by Crooks. He's got Acoy away, and Acoy running straight at Fairbairn, and Fairbairn Well, he makes as good a tackle as Kemble's just made, but chances now for Hull. Sterling, Edmonds running across the line to Schofield, and Gary Prome was on to Schofield, and Gary Prome in fact comes up with the ball, but the referee says no, that won't do. He's not happy with that, and in fact it's a penalty. Well, perhaps a strange penalty really, because it looked a 1-to-1 situation, but the referee decided that the tackle had been completed when Prome actually took the ball. And a good kick from Schofield. And Hull will work a move here. Patrick running right along the line, allowed to go. Devorty coming in. But Devorty not getting very far. Broadhurst, good tackle from Broadhurst. Patrick, Norton taking on Emma. Norton slipping a ball to Patrick. Patrick doing well there, the young hooker, but the ball goes loose from Crooks, and Rovers this time tidy up. Gary Prome comes up with the ball. Emma, well, rather wasted tackle by Zook Emma there. Never going to make much yardage. No Rovers. But once again, Hull in quickly, making those tackles count, preventing David Hall doing further damage. Broadhurst trying to slip the ball, or does slip the ball to Mike Smith. Mike Smith tackled quickly, and Harkin this time. Harkin with the kick, and that's not quite gone in. Rolls away. Gary Campbell kicks it back towards his own line, and Gary Campbell starting the run out, running straight into that man Broadhurst once again. And a good tackle coming in from one New Zealander on another, and Broadhurst, well, there he tackles yet another New Zealander, Dane O'Hara, as he tries to run off Patrick. Sterling a short ball, but Crooks juggling the ball, and eventually it goes loose, and this time Emma drops on it, and Hull really are making far too many mistakes for a team in a cup final, and they could pay the penalty for these mistakes if they don't do something about it. Now Gary Prome, Harkin dummying and going. Harkin to Hall, and Hall this time can't take the pass. Kemble it is who picks up, and Hall has to make the tackle, but there was a chance on for Rovers there. Paul Harkin had created the gap. Dane O'Hara trying to run out. Broadhurst makes the tackle, and Rovers looking dangerous once again after this opening 20 minutes or so of the game. Norton. It's Hull 0, Kingston Rovers 4, and the ball goes loose. The referee said it was okay. The ball went backwards, and Patrick drops on it, and Lee Crooks will this time try and kick his side out of defence. And the ball, well, Akoy is first to it, and the referee says, well, a knock on there, and so it's going to be a scrum down. And Rovers with head and ball would be hoping to win this. And once again Rovers doing it, and Harkin breaking away from Devorty, but Devorty carries on, makes the tackle. So Harkin dummies to Prome straining up. He's got David Laws with him, Gary Prome. A good tackle by Schofield, and Sterling makes sure he can't get the ball away. David Laws inside Emma, driving forward, and Emma with Broadhurst now at acting half. Broadhurst, Hall to Burton, and Burton coming straight, but Burton loses the ball, and Gary Devorty quickly drops on it. Sterling, Edmonds showing the ball. Watkinson makes the tackle. Patrick to Proctor. Mike Smith and Robinson with Andy Kelly, and there with Kelly with his bandaged head. He's had his treatment. There's Akoy. It is falling to that tackle from Watkinson and Hall. Patrick, Norton to Evans. Not seen much yet of Stevie Evans, but the man with pace who can really split a defence. But what a good ball from Sterling to O'Hara, coming out of nothing almost, that pass. And Rovers really having to scramble. But in fact, Hull on the sixth tackle have to give the ball away, and Emma will lead Rovers back into a position of some safety. But just shows what a good player Peter Sterling is. What a tremendous pass that was. Almost got O'Hara clear on the outside. Broadhurst serving the ball. Watkinson to Harkin to Hall. Kelly And it's Burton who comes. Burton, not a good ball, but well picked up by Gary Prome. Gary Prome to David Laws. Rovers keeping the ball going well, and David Laws coming through the middle, but oh, a tremendous piece of covering by Patrick and Luluai. But a position of some danger once again as Broadhurst slips the ball to Harkin. Harkin dummies, goes one way, and he tries an impossible pass. Peter Sterling gets in between the man and ball, knocks the ball down, and really cleared up what was a dangerous situation, because Rovers had 2 or 3 men wide of Harkin and may well have scored there. As it is, they have Ed and Ball win the ball back again, and George Fairbairn linking up, and Fairbairn, well, not a good ball. Gary Prome having to take it as it bounced. Schofield makes the tackle. David Laws getting away from Schofield, but not from Proctor, and Proctor has really tackled well in these opening minutes. Gary Prome, good ball to Emma, and once again Accoyd is who knocks down. It's going to be all off here as David Hall goes forward. David Hall, Crooks, and well, Rovers really putting on the pressure. Hull are having to scramble just to knock these balls down, and it's making Rovers, giving Rovers the possession back. And a good long ball, and here comes Ian Robinson again. Robinson looking for the man in possession, looking for the man outside him rather, and Dane O'Hara comes in. The chances here for Rovers. Broadhurst swinging one way, swinging the other, and Hull really under the collar at the moment. David Hall, George Fairbairn's linking up, and Fairbairn breaks the tackle, and Fairbairn's going to score, and George Fairbairn has scored, and that puts Rovers 8-0 in front. And what a tremendous try again, and that man David Hall, a superb pass, but Fairbairn into the gap. Fairbairn broke a tackle. Gary Devorty tried to get over, but there was no stopping the Rovers fullback, who crashed over for a splendid try. And Fairbairn with the chance from some 10-15 yards to the to his left of the post, a chance to kick this goal, and this would put Rovers 10-0 in front, and really that's quite an advantage to have at this stage of the game. 25 minutes of the match gone, and it's Kingston Rovers well on top at this stage, and remembering how they took control of the derby match at Craven Park in the second half just 3 weeks ago. Well, this could be a winning lead already. George Fairbairn lines it up, but it's not a good kick. He's pushed it wide of the far post, and so Rovers lead, well, 8-0, and it could have been 12, but still a handsome lead to have at this stage of the game, knowing how well Rovers usually play in the second half of their matches. So Gary Schofield will probably restart. Nolie Crooks coming in, and Crooks kicks hard and deep. And Gary Clark underneath it, and Clark is checking back and will certainly be tackled, and in fact he is, as Gary Devorty it is who makes the tackle. Watkinson, Emma driving in, Zook Emma hungry for work. Broadhurst who's been involved in everything in these opening minutes. Harkin dummying once again, and Harkin taking on Edmonds. Edmonds with the help of Crooks makes the tackle. Watkinson, and Broadhurst coming short. Harkin channeled the ball back, and Fairbairn will kick deep, and a good long high kick. Gary Kemble underneath it, and Gary Kemble, who doesn't miss many of those, and Gary Kemble starts to run out but doesn't get very far, and in fact has lost the ball, and well, only sharp thinking by Peter Sterling saved the day there, because Mike Smith was hovering looking for that loose ball. Patrick, Accoy, Edmonds, and Edmonds looking for support, but having to go down, take the tackle. Patrick, Devorty, and a good tackle coming in that time from Chris Burton. Patrick, Sterling to Schofield, and Schofield, well, such a danger man if he can get away, Gary Schofield. Rovers aware of that, 3 men go in, Burton and Kelly and Prome, and they get the man down, Sterling, and Sterling will kick high, and it's a good kick too, and that's got Rovers scrambling a little bit, and it's worked out well for Crooks, and Crooks a long pass, but Evans can't take it. The ball's going anywhere, and in fact So Fairbairn looking for touch, finds it some 10-15 yards outside the Hull 25. David Watkinson. Hall, long ball to Kelly coming in, and Kelly tackled Mike Smith at acting half. David Hall who's been such a danger man. Chris Burton. Well, Burton almost got away from Devotti. Hall. Broadhurst going straight, and this time he's hurled to the ground by Crooks and Norton together. Kelly tackled. Two men coming in hard on Andy Kelly. Watkinson to Hall. Good long ball to Fairbairn coming in from Harkin, and a chance here for Rovers, and Fairbairn, whatever was he thinking of? He had three men outside him, and he let Campbell make the tackle, but it's a try anyway, I think. David Hall looks to be there. The referee's over. Yes, it is a try. And well, that must be a relief for George Fairbairn, because Rovers there had a three-man overlap. Fairbairn came in onto that pass from Harkin. He couldn't help but score if he'd passed, or Rovers couldn't have helped but score if he'd passed, but instead he tried to take on Gary Campbell and was tackled, but David Hall has saved Fairbairn's embarrassment by darting over from acting half to score Rovers' third try. Half an hour gone, and Fairbairn with the chance to add the goal. Two misses so far for George Fairbairn, and this really, from the way he's kicked the first two, isn't an easy one. But what a valuable kick it would be for Rovers if it would go over, but in fact it hasn't. He's pulled that away once again, and Rovers 3 tries on the board, 12-0, and really this looks like it's going to be a winning lead for Rovers, because they've certainly taken their chances. Hull have made a lot of mistakes, and now Lee Crooks trying an angle kick, and that's not a good one either, and the sign of panic perhaps from Hull. And the Hull captain, well, not a wise thing to do at all. Kicking away, straight into touch. And Fairbairn will probably come up and... No, Watkinson's going to take the tap. Watkinson to Emma. And Rovers, well, they couldn't have asked for a better start. Mike Smith, and if they could score one more try perhaps and maybe kick the goal, well, this game would be virtually all over with half-time still to come, and that's perhaps a dangerous thing to say. Anyway, Broadhurst slipping the ball to Robinson. Robinson trying to find a way through. The whole tackles coming in hard. Broadhurst pushing off one man, but not another. Watkinson to David Hall. David Hall, a little kick forward for Mike Smith, and Mike Smith kicks on, and in fact he just shoots off his boot, and Schofield covering back, drops on the ball, and some relief for Hull, who've really been under the collar in the last well, practically throughout the whole of this first half hour. Now Wayne Proctor leading them out. Wayne Proctor running strongly. Steve Evans, good play by Hull to clear the lines. Proctor and Evans. O'Hara to Sterling. Short ball to Devotti, but Kelly coming across, making the tackle. Patrick sorting out Sterling, well, shaping to pass to Coy, but Proctor breaking away from one man, and in fact onto the last tackle, and Sterling puts up the bomb, and Fairbairn, what was he doing? He just charged into his man, and the referee gives the penalty. And really no option there, because Fairbairn just ran straight into Sterling, made no attempt to catch the ball. It was swirling away from him, it's true, but he might as well have just left it, because the ball just bounced away. And there was a chance for Hull, having been under the collar for so long, to perhaps get onto the scoreboard. Gary Schofield, well, this is quite a kickable chance. Gary Schofield, particularly for Gary Schofield, has been kicking quite well recently. And a chance for Hull to pull back a couple of these points. And Schofield, yes, no mistake with that one. That's clean as a whistle, through the middle. And so with 34 minutes of this Yorkshire Cup final gone, it's Hull FC 2, Kingston Rovers 12. And that perhaps will give Hull a little bit of heart after what has been for them a disappointing start to this game. And really they need a boost of some sort at this stage. So Fairbairn looking for an angle. And Gary Campbell, well, was that a knock-on? I think it probably was, but the referee said it was okay. It went backwards. And Lulai breaking out of a couple of tackles, and Lulai going forward. Falling, in fact, for the third tackle. A good run from James Lulai. Norton goes in hard. Burton and Hall both make the tackle. Crooks showing the ball to Sterling. It's again Crooks, well, he does well to hang on to that ball because it was bobbling about a bit dangerously. Patrick gets the ball away. Ball comes back inside Evans makes a good pick-up really. Akoi to Crooks. Crooks gets the ball away to Proctor, and a chance, and O'Hara can't take it. Not a good ball from Proctor. Really a basketball style of pass, and it went bouncing anywhere. And Hull coming forward with Akoi, a good ball to Devorty, and Rovers really stretched there, and the ball's gone anywhere, and it's Hull who've got it back with Patrick and Sterling showing the ball. Devorty a long pass, and Lulai does well to stay in play. Had to take that high and right on the line. And the chance for Hull, this is the best chance they've had yet. Sterling to Akoi, and once again Rovers tackling pretty good, and the ball goes loose. Mike Smith gathers it, and some relief for Rovers as Gary Prome starts a run. Proctor has really tackled well in the first half. Now Broadhurst driving out of his 25, and Rovers were under a great deal of pressure there, and that could have been a really dangerous moment for them. Emma plays the ball. Robinson, Watkinson just charges forward, and Rovers onto the last tackle, and Harkin wants it from acting half, and he channels it back to Fairbairn. And Fairbairn with the long kick. Once again, the good angled kick, and Lulai's lost the ball, and Laws had a chance there, but Lulai gets it away to Campbell. And Laws perhaps was hanging back, expecting Lulai to take it so that he could make the tackle. In fact, if he'd have gone rushing up, he would have probably had the easiest try of the season. Sterling, Devorty, Akoi. Rovers moving in hard on Fred Akoi. Norton, good ball to Devorty, a good ball around the man, and Schofield's away, and Gary Schofield, he can score from this sort of position, Gary Schofield, but what a tackle from Fairbairn coming right across. Tremendous tackle, but still the danger's not over for Rovers as Edmonds goes in, and that looked like a trip from Paul Harkin, but the referee says nothing. He lets it go. Sterling puts through the little grubber kick, and Lee Crooks is there, and it's going to be a try, and Lee Crooks has scored. Mike Smith seemed to miss the ball. Lee Crooks was onto it, and that's a try. And Hull, well, they threatened it for the last few minutes, and that's the try that Hull needed. Kingston Rovers 12, Hull 6, and a chance here for Gary Schofield to kick the goal. And if he does, well, they'll get margin down to 4 points. And just 9 minutes ago, when David Hall scored, you were counting Hull out, and now they could be right back in the game with just a minute or so to half time. Gary Schofield, well, it's an easy enough kick for him by the post, but in the cup final, no kick is easy. But no problem at all for Schofield. Over it goes, and that really transforms the game. Hull 8, Kingston Rovers 12, just a minute or so to go to half time. And Hull, well, they must be feeling they're right back in this game now. Rovers started to look a bit jaded, not quite going with the same power in those few minutes, and Hull have come quite strongly. And that try was just what they wanted, and Gary Prome trying a a clever kick-off, but it was never going to work. Fred Okoye well awake to that sort of move. Patrick to Crooks driving forward, Patrick coming with a short pass. Crooks can't get it away. And Hull, well, can they get right back into the game before half-time? Norton gets it back to Devorty, but Devorty smothered out. And Patrick from acting half. Patrick to Norton showing the ball. Sterling, good move by Hull, and Steve Evans almost getting through the middle. That had to be a good tackle from Burton and from Harkin, but still danger here for Rovers as Norton shows the ball and gets it a long pass. Owen Laws had the chance to intercept and perhaps go a long way, David Laws, but he couldn't take it. He knocked on, and not a good ball, in fact, from Steve Norton that gave Laws that chance. But the head and ball go to Hull. And Sterling, well, didn't look to go in, did it? But Luluai and Hall makes the tackle. Proctor, Okoye, and Okoye goes down. Two men crash on top of him, Emma and Mike Smith. Patrick. Schofield, a good little kick, and Schofield and Proman. Well, was that an obstruction? It looked like it from here, but the referee said no, it's okay, and it's George Fairbairn who picks up. The moment of real danger when Schofield kicked ahead. He had the pace, almost made it through. And Gary Schofield, and that would have been a sensational try. And now Rovers having to work their way out. Mike Smith coming first man. Not a good sign perhaps when he's having to do that. George Fairbairn checking one way, kicking the other. Gary Campbell underneath it and not too well, but in fact they knock on, but it doesn't matter because the hoot is gone. And that's a quite remarkable half, because Rovers were on top for half an hour of the half. They built that 12-0 lead, and then in the last 10 minutes Hull have come back. They've scored 8 points, and as the teams go away, it's Kingston Rovers 12, Hull 8 in this Yorkshire Cup final. And the team's back out onto the field, and David Hall there, the Rovers captain, the man who laid on the first 2 tries in this game. And so it's Hull who will restart. The score once again, Hull 8, Kingston Rovers 12, and George Fairbairn leads Rovers out of their own 25. Well, tries to, but goes down to that tackle from Proctor. Gary Prome to Kelly, and Kelly running straight into Lee Crooks. Kelly fights his way out of one tackle but can't fight his way out of others. Devorty and Edmonds who bring him down. Now Broadhurst is tackled by Patrick and Schofield. Well in on him. Watkinson, Emma driving forward through Kemmer, and the ball goes loose. And Hull, well, a chance perhaps to put on some early pressure and get the try that would level the match, and perhaps the goal that would put them ahead. Lee Crooks drives forward. Sterling, a good short ball from Sterling to Edmonds, but Edmonds plays crowd round him. Patrick showing the ball. Patrick going hard. Sean Patrick doing a lot of work quietly. Sean Patrick had a good first half. Steve Norton straining up, and Steve Norton fighting his way through 2 tackles and Crooks, and this must be a chance for Hull, and Okoye. He's tackled by Mike Smith, and they're right on the line. There's Peter Sterling, a little kick through for Devorty, and in the end it's kicked dead by George Fairbairn. But there was a chance there when Steve Norton broke 2 tackles, and Fred Okoye was quickly onto it. Mike Smith, what a good tackle that was. It saved the day for Rovers, and so Fairbairn will drop out, but Rovers quickly under some pressure, and they'll need to absorb this because Hull are certain to come at them. And Gary Campbell on the halfway. Gary Campbell takes that. Gary Campbell goes away from Kelly, and Campbell's going to score. Campbell, he could score here, and he has done. And Gary Campbell has scored a tremendous try out of nothing really. And Rovers, well, they must be wondering what's happened. a drop out from under the post. That meant 13 men between Gary Kemble and the line, but the fullback found the gap. He went through it, and there was no one to stop him. And well, 12-12, and no wonder those Hull fans are celebrating, because it's only some 12 minutes ago in this game that they were thinking they were going to get whitewashed. And now here they are with a chance to go ahead for the first time. Gary Schofield, well, we've seen George Fairbairn miss a couple of kicks from similar position to this, and not an easy kick at all for Schofield. As I said before, the right-footed player finds this sort of angle pretty difficult. But what an important kick this would be if it would go over. And it's close. It's there, it's over. And that puts Hull back in front, or in front for the first time. 14 points to 12. And what a turnaround in this game. And Rovers, having thought they had the game won, have now got it all to do. So it will be George Fairbairn to restart. And just a couple of minutes gone in this second half. And what a sensation we've had here as Hull FC take the lead at 14 points to 12. Now then, what can they do now? Can they stretch this lead, or will Rovers come back at them? Lee Crooks. And Hull looking to build now on this revival. Peter Sterling, Patrick, the ball channeled back to Schofield, the long kick, and David Laws takes that one. Laws checks inside, and Devorty, good tackle by Devorty, makes that tackle well. Patrick, Harkin to Emma. Emma just drives forward. Watkinson, Harkin, Broadhurst has been crowding round Broadhurst. Broadhurst has been probably Rovers' strongest player in the first half, and Hull quite aware of that now. Hall, Mike Smith to Kelly, and Kelly goes storming through the gap, but Sterling covering well. Peter Sterling gets across, makes the tackle. Hall, Harkin showing the ball. Burton coming straight, and once again the whole defence crowding in, making sure he can't slip the ball. And Harkin this time puts in the high kick, but much too long. Not a good kick from Paul Harkin, and Hull will have the tap out from the 25, which Sean Patrick will take. And away they come. And the Rovers defenders, or Rovers tacklers, in hard on Phil Edmonds. Patrick to Norton slipping the ball inside, not a good pass. Patrick gathers it, but the pass was forward, or the knock-on rather, from McCoy is given. And so Rovers with head and ball, and a chance perhaps to set up an attacking position. It's the scrum wheels. Mike Smith, and Mike Smith showing some pace, getting away from Devorty. Kemble coming over, doing enough to force Mike Smith to check, and Devorty makes the tackle. Now Harkin to Hall, long ball to Kelly trying to slip the ball. Rovers really replying with some good pressure here. Paul Harkin, and once again a good tackle by Sterling. His tackling has been quite tremendous. Broadhurst straightening up, Edmonds makes the tackle. And Rovers already on to their last tackle as Paul Harkin shows the ball. David Hall to Mike Smith, a good kick through, and there's a chase here on for Gary Clark and Dane O'Hara, gathers the ball but goes into touch, and that in fact means that Rovers will have head and ball again. The scrum virtually on the whole line, and a position perhaps for Rovers to reassert themselves. First they've got to win the scrum. Ball goes in, they've won it. Harkin Mike Smith, Fairbairn linking up and a chance, but oh, good tackle. What a tremendous tackle that was from Gary Kemble on his opposite number, David Hall. Hall to Robinson trying to go through the gap. Gary Prome coming short. Robinson can't get the ball away. Hull, now they're in front, the tail's really up, tackling well, Hull. Gary Prome crashes down, loses the ball in the tackle. And Lee Crooks, it is, who comes away with the ball for Hull, and some relief as Rovers trying to get back into the game, trying to regain that lead they held for most of the first half. But Hull certainly having none of it now. And Edmonds pushes off one man, pushes off Emma in fact, and Emma just looking a little bit tired at this moment, as if perhaps he could do with a bit of a breather. There's going to be no breathers in this game, I don't think. McCoy has to go down to that tackle from Broadhurst, and Hull already onto their last tackle, and Devorty will kick as Broadhurst makes the tackle. Referee has a good look at it, decides there was no obstruction there, and George Fairbairn runs it out, doesn't get too far, so Proctor was injured there making that tackle. Kelly and Harkin calling men up, wants to work the move, finds Robinson, but Norton up very quickly on the outside, spotted that coming, made the tackle on Robinson. Watkinson to Hall, and Hall, Rovers. Ooh, what a terrible ball from David Hall. Really played Mike Smith into trouble, and really Rovers want a bit more artistry from David Hall than that. Chris Burton running off, and Emma trying to get in support. Watkinson, Harkin, and Harkin will kick, and a good kick from Paul Harkin, running away, finding the touch inside the Hull 25. And now Rovers would dearly like to take their first scrum against the Head at this stage, and perhaps put on a bit more pressure, because they've responded to the catastrophe really of that try from Kemble straight after the break by putting on some pressure, but Hull tackling well, managed to absorb it all, and now a chance to come away, but Devorty not getting very far against David Hall. Patrick to Edmonds, making ground, Phil Edmonds, Patrick, Sterling with the kick, a long kick, and a good one too. It's making Rovers scramble, but David Laws gets across, and Laws falls to that tackle from McCoy. Mike Smith to Gary Prome, and Prome tackled by his opposite number, Gary Schofield, and Mike Smith to Broadhurst. Broadhurst looking for the support, none there. Watkinson, Paul Harkin getting across the line, but Edmonds in quickly, makes the tackle. Emma, 3 men in hard on Zook Emma. And Emma, I think, felt that one. He's getting up a bit gingerly. Harkin with a long ball to Robinson, and a good ball too, and Robinson going away, but the referee has said forward pass. Well, it's hard to judge from this angle, but there didn't look a great deal wrong with it. And David Hall tapping Harkin on the back of the head, as much as to say, well, I thought it was a good pass, but then of course he would do. Sterling. The referee says, let's have that one again. Redakoi doesn't look too pleased. So Sterling once again puts in, and this time the penalty for feet up against Rovers, and Hull a chance to get back onto the attack with Gary Schofield looking for touch. Schofield finding touch just outside the 25. And then what can Hull do with this? Sterling, well, can't do anything. A bad pass by Sterling, but Norton picks up. Norton slips a ball, good ball too to Wayne Proctor, and Wayne Proctor driving forward, forcing Rovers into the tackle. And Hull, some 10 minutes or so of the second half gone, once again finding a position of some danger. Patrick Okoye, a good move by Hull, a really good move this, really flowing the ball there. Lee Crooks came in, and that was really good stuff. Now Sterling dumping one way, going the other, and still going Peter Sterling, and in the end Emma having to come in third man to get the Australian scrum half down. And Hull onto the last tackle, and they channel it back to Gary Schofield, who's going to try a drop goal. It's high, it's over, it's a drop goal for Hull, and the lead stretches. 15-12 is the lead for Hull with some 51 minutes gone, and Rovers about to make a substitution. Zook Emma is going off, Steve Hartley is coming on. Hartley, I assume, will go to standoff. Mike Smith presumably goes to the pack. Hartley passing on the instructions from the bench, and I would imagine that Andy Kelly will move to the front row, David Hall to the second row, and Mike Smith will go to loose forward. Anyway, we shall see. And Steve Evans, who looks to have switched to the right wing. James Lulai is hovering around the left centre position as I look down. But Evans, well, quite a bad mistake, plays the ball to himself, doesn't gather it. And a chance for Rovers to perhaps win this scrum and see if they can hit back. Hartley to Fairbairn, and Fairbairn he doesn't get very far. A good tackle by Okoye coming in quickly. Steve Hartley dummying going the other way, but no way through this whole defence at the moment. Hull are really tackling well. Wayne Proctor gets across. Harkin, David Hall, Mike Smith. Mike Smith trying to show the ball. Mike Smith plays the ball. Burton, Broadhurst. Once again, those Hull defenders all wanting to get there, wanting to make the tackles. They know they're on top now. Hartley, a good ball on Kelly, and Kelly's got a gap here, and he swings a long ball, but David Laws has to wait for it. It rather was hanging in the air, and Laws having to wait, and that gave the cover a chance to get to him. And Gary Prome this time puts in the kick, and Prome follows up and dives in, and the referee says it's a penalty. He's penalised Gary Prome as Gary Prome went charging in. And that's the second time, in fact, that Rovers have been penalised for doing that, for taking the man rather than going for the ball. And some welcome relief, I should think, for Hull, who would be wanting to consolidate their lead. 15-12 in front, and another try could put them into a safe winning position. In fact, it's beginning to look at this stage where we're somewhat 14-15 minutes into the second half. It's beginning to look as if the next try could well prove the crucial one of the game. And Hull in possession, coming forward. Lee Crooks who's got better and better as the game has gone on. Norton turning the ball back inside. Good ball too, and Gary Schofield pushing off one man, pushing off two men, creating the gap, and Gary Schofield, a lovely little kick, and Gary Schofield, he has to tap it over and he must score, and he's missed it altogether. And was there an obstruction? Was Fairbairn obstructing Schofield? Well, the referee was on the spot, but it certainly looked that way. And Chris Burton starts to run the ball out. Now Gary Prome goes down, weight of numbers, and Gary Prome, but a good tackle it was by Proctor in the first instance. Laws, Broadhurst, and Rovers really can't make any ground now. This tackling of Hull's is really quite good, quite brilliant in the second half. Kelly is once again swarming round. Just no room at all for Rovers to work. What a difference it is on the first half hour of the game. Watkinson, Rovers really just struggling to get out, and in the end they have to channel the ball back to Fairbairn, and Fairbairn forced into a rather rapid kick, but this could work out because Hartley is onside. But the good tackle by Kemble, and Hartley, if he could have passed to Mike Smith, well, there was real possibilities for Rovers, and that came out of nothing almost. But as it is, he had to hand the ball away, and now Hull through Dane O'Hara are trying to make ground. And Hull, Patrick to Sterling, to Patrick again. And a good little move between the hooker and the scrum half, who have worked really well together so far in this game. Steve Norton looking better and better, and that looked like a trip. And that really should have been a penalty, I'm sure. That looked like a trip. Sterling kicks through, and a good kick once again, but Gary Clark gets back, scrambles past Sterling. Rovers, where they've been so often in this second half, right back on their own line, trying to find a way out, trying to get their way back into the game. Really, they're not doing that too well as Mike Smith makes some precious yardage. This tackling from Hull is quite unrelenting at this stage. Gary Prome and Proctor, Norton and Patrick all going on Gary Prome. Watkinson, Burton driving forward, Broadus backing up well, and that was better from Rovers. Once again, that tackling from Hull really sound, really strong, and then not allowing Rovers any room at all, and David Laws bundled into touch. Two men make the tackle. And that's a Rovers ball, and that's the first Rovers scrum against the head, one each now to Patrick and Watkinson. And so Rovers perhaps with a chance to find a way through, and really where the gaps are I don't know, because there's 4 and 5 Hull players every time making these tackles, and Rovers just can't do anything with them. Hartley to Kelly, and Kelly gets away from one man, but Patrick coming in hard on Kelly, and Edmonds and Devorty tidy up. Broadhurst to Hall, the long ball to Burton. Once again, that tackling really sound. Hall back to Watkinson. Watkinson slips the ball to Steve Hartley, and perhaps there was a half a chance there, but Hartley knocks on, and the Hull player knocks on, and that'll be a head and ball. Well, the referee says head and ball to Rovers. He's obviously penalised the first offence, the Steve Hartley knock on, and Sterling. Now Kemble linking up, and that had to be a good tackle by Robinson. It was a gap was appearing there. Luluai coming inside, a good tackle again by Robinson, but Luluai slips it to Sterling, and a long ball to Edmonds, and Edmonds going forward. And Rovers looking a bit vulnerable. Norton and Sterling. And Sterling really dictating play for Hull at this stage. Having a tremendous second half is the Australian. Now Patrick and Sterling once again. Sterling, a great ball to Devorty, and a good ball to Luluai. Luluai to O'Hara. Great play this by Hull, and O'Hara going for the line, but Fairbairn, and a good tackle by Fairbairn. And it had to be, because there was real danger there, but Okoye, and this could still be on for Hull as Norton comes in. Norton, a good ball to Kemble, and Kemble going strongly for the line, and Gary Kemble goes in, and a good try from Gary Kemble, and really the result of tremendous Hull pressure, and Fairbairn couldn't make the tackle that time. David Laws got it to Kemble, but couldn't stop him grounding. And that's an absolutely vital score. Hull FC 19, Kingston Rovers 12, and the gap to 7 points. And the way that Hull are tackling, you just can't see Rovers pulling that sort of gap back. They need to score 2 tries, and Hull's defence has improved dramatically in this second half, and Rovers looking more and more frustrated. And although you hesitate to say it in a derby game, one wonders if this lead for Hull is already a winning one. Well, if Schofield kicks this, and he's been kicking superbly all afternoon, then it really could be great things, but he's not got hold of that one. It swung away wide, and the score remains at Hull FC 19, Kingston Rovers 12. Really, Hull now well set to complete the hat-trick of Yorkshire Cup victories. So Fairbairn restarts. Sterling It's out Evans. And Evans tackled. Devorty goes down. Broadhurst makes a good tackle. Sorry, on Crooks that was. And now Sterling and a tremendous kick, and Sterling finds a wonderful touch. And Sterling, well, everything's going right for him now. He's playing with the authority one would expect of the Australian scrum half. He may have lost his place. And whoever he's lost his place to, well, he must be one hell of a player, because if he can keep Peter Sterling out of an international side on this form, he must be a good player now. Hartley. And Hartley having to take the tackle. Okoye and Sterling so quickly on. Not a good ball from Hall that time. Prone picked up well. Fairbairn, no gap at all for Fairbairn. Rovers, well, they need something out of the top drawer now. They're going to get back into this game. Gary Prome not making much ground. Broadhurst driving forward. So once again, the whole tackling really solid, really sure. And there's Burton. Once again, two men in hard on Burton. Harkin looks for an angle, gets his kick in, but Gary Kemble had read it all the way. Steve Evans cutting inside. Kemble is looking for his hat-trick of tries. Gary Kemble, oh, and a great tackle by Burton, but the referee says it was high. Well, perhaps it was a bit high. Kemble gets up, he's all right. Certainly didn't affect Gary Kemble at all. Chris Burton held on. Hard to see quite what was wrong with that tackle. He seemed to catch his man round the shoulders, but well, it's not found touch. And David Laws tackled by Sterling, who goes in and jumps on Laws for a second time, and the referee penalises that. And so George Fairbairn will take Rovers into the whole half of the field. Now what can Rovers do this time? Gary Prome coming short. Prome, two men come in to meet him, make that tackle. Watkinson, Broadhurst going across the line. Crooks is in, Sterling's there, and the referee, while the touch judge is in, Mr. Mason comes in. It looked like an incident off the ball. There's a bit of a clash between Gary Prome and Phil Edmonds. And Gary Prome is being called up. And that's going to be a lecture to Prome and a penalty to Hull. And so Hull, from perhaps in a position of some danger, have now got a chance to turn that defence into attack. Once again, Patrick, Lee Crooks is really just getting better and better as the game goes on. He really is playing well now. He's the Hull captain. Wanted the ball, eager to have it. Driving forward, Sterling to Edmonds, and Edmonds going forward, but three men round Edmonds. Plays the ball. Patrick, Sterling. You always feel something could happen when Peter Sterling has the ball. Patrick. Good tackle from Broadhurst. Broadhurst, who's that's the one Rovers player whose tackling remains as solid as it was in the first half. Norton getting the ball away. Hull finding Rovers a bit uncompromising. Lee Crooks that time. Patrick to Sterling. Sterling feeding the ball back. Gary Schofield shaping to kick. Gary Schofield still going. This time he does get the little kick in, but it goes straight into touch. And that will be ball back, but that doesn't take the ball back too far. Rovers will have head and ball, and will hope to win this and ease some of this pressure that's now becoming quite unrelenting from Hull. Hull have really got on top, and the penalty, the feet up, this time goes to Rovers. And so a chance for Fairbairn to take off some of this heavy pressure. Broadhurst. Broadhurst pushes off one man, goes. Tackling once again by Hull. Harkin showing the ball. Mike Smith tries to get it away to David Hall, and not a good ball. Peter Sterling was in quickly, but could only knock it down. Paul Harkin gathered, and that'll be 6 more to Rovers. David Hall to Steve Hartley. Hartley dummying. Hartley. Lee Crooks well aware of the danger of Steve Hartley coming across, covering well from Burton driving forward. Harkin, Mike Smith, Steve Hartley, a good ball from Hartley. Kelly, there seemed to be half a chance. David Laws was coming on the outside. Broadhurst slipping the ball. Mike Smith in the reverse pass, really not a good one. Put Paul Harkin under a tremendous amount of pressure then. Watkinson, Fairbairn tries a little kick over the top and gathers, and a good play by Fairbairn to Ian Robinson, and Robinson going through the gap and back inside to Steve Hartley, and a chance here, and the referee says that it's, well, what has he said? A forward pass, presumably. Well, in fact, he's said an obstruction. He's decided that Steve Hartley pushed the whole player in order to get into that position, and so Hull, well, they could have been conceding a try. Instead, they're able to come away with some relief, I would think. And back once again into Rovers half, where most of this second half has been played. And Fred Okoye coming neatly onto that pass from Patrick. Good play. And Harkin and Robinson getting the tackle on Okoye. Edmonds slipping the ball to Norton. Cutting back, Norton slips a good ball to Patrick, and Patrick drives forward, and Rovers under some pressure once again. Hull looking sharp, looking good. Edmonds. Ooh, and Edmonds running straight into Burton, but he still gets the ball away, and Devorty almost getting round. Broadhurst makes the tackle. Now Sterling, and Sterling slips away from one man. Sterling to Okoye, and this is a great chance, and this Proctor to Norton, and Norton scores. Steve Norton goes no more than a yard. Oh, what a tremendous piece of play by Peter Sterling again. Sterling and Okoye teaming up superbly, opening up the Rovers defence. Wayne Proctor came in, and when the last line of defence was breached, slipped the short pass, and Steve Norton had no more to do than catch the ball and put it down almost in the same movement. And that must be the killer try. Must make sure that Hull will win the Yorkshire Cup, because they now lead by 23 points to 12, and a chance here for Gary Schofield to make it 25. Has a look at the post, and yes, no bother at all, that goes straight over, and Hull lead by 25 points to 12. And little danger now, with some 12 or 13 minutes left, that the Yorkshire Cup is going once more to the Boulevard for the 3rd year in succession, and only one other team in the history of the competition has won it 3 times on the trot. So Rovers, well, what a sensation it must be for them. They produced the revival at Craven Park. They beat Hull from a long way behind, and now the boot very much on the other foot, because Hull have come back, and they've come back superbly. They look down and out, and now everything's going. Devorty, Okoye, but Okoye trying to slip the ball, and it goes straight into Paul Harkin's hands, and Harkin slipping the ball to Kelly, and Kelly to Harkin. Good play by Rovers. They're trying to keep this ball alive, and this surely is their only chance. They've got to keep the ball moving. They've got to find a way through, and Matt Broadhurst driving forward. Broadhurst going strongly. David Hall to Harkin. Mike Smith, a long pass to Fairbairn, linking up. But the 3 Hull defenders, as usual, always 3, make the cover. Now Hartley, trip tackle by Lee Crooks, just enough. Can Rovers make something of this? They've got chances on the left. as David Hall comes in, and David Hall fights a long ball, and Steve Evans intercepts, and Steve Evans is away, and Gary Clark's coming over, and David Laws is in pursuit, but they won't catch Evans. He's going all the way, and Steve Evans goes in, and Steve Evans scores for Hull, and that's the try that makes it 29-12 for Hull. And David Hall, well, he had two men outside Steve Evans. If he'd have been able to float that pass just a bit higher, well, Rovers would have been scoring. But Steve Evans, who reads those interceptions so well, he scored one at Craven Park. He spotted it, he saw it coming, he gathered the ball, and away he went. An 80-yard break by Steve Evans. David Laws couldn't catch him. Gary Clark, covering brilliantly from the right, couldn't catch him either. And now Gary Schofield with a chance to push the whole score over 30, and that would be quite sensational, because who would have thought this possible something like 40 minutes ago? But here we are with Gary Schofield, who's kicked absolutely superbly all afternoon, and here he comes to kick this goal. It's drifting away from the left hand post as we look. And so the score remains Hull FC 29, Kingston Rovers 12, and with just 10 minutes to go, there really is no danger at all now that Hull are going to win as they make a substitution. Paul Rose has come on, and it's Gary Devorty who's gone off, and that substitution was made almost as Rovers were kicking off. Edmonds. So Paul Rose, the former Rovers player, comes in to bring his weight, his bulk into this whole pack, and you can imagine him doing some damage, because Rovers are beginning to look a bit tired. And a good kick again by Sterling, pushing Rovers back. Just the sort of thing they don't want to do, Rovers. They don't want to be going backwards, and Sterling, such a master tactician, well aware of that, pushing them back into their own 25. And this, once again, a position of some danger to Rovers as the scrum forms, and it's a Rovers ball. But, Norton, who's gone to loose forward, quickly out of the pack, tackles Harkin. David Laws, and once again no gap at all. Good tackling. Rose came in with Edmonds, Burton, and once again one. No gap at all for Rovers. They really are struggling to find any way through this tremendous defence of Hull. And Kelly going away. Well, Rose went in really high on Kelly. I don't think he hit him, but I think he's been sent off. The referee's pointing. Rose asks, if you want me to go, and the referee says yes. And Paul Rose, who's only been on the field, well, something like 2 minutes, has been sent off for that really wild challenge on Kelly. He went in with his elbow raised, Paul Rose, and he disappears into the tunnel for what must be one of the record short appearances in any cup final, I would imagine. He came on less than 2 minutes earlier. He'd made 2 tackles as far as I could see. He hadn't touched the ball, and he's been sent off. So Rovers now with 13 men to 12, but I think with something like 8 minutes or so to go, the gap really too big, even with a numerical advantage, because they've got to score something like 3 tries, 3 goals to win this game, Rovers. And really you just can't see them doing it, and you certainly can't see them doing it with passes like that, because Peter Sterling easily intercepts that one, and Gary Schofield comes away, but Fairbairn and Laws in quickly to prevent any danger. But what a bad pass that was from David Hall. Sterling, a long pass to Crooks to Edmonds, a long ball to O'Hara, and really there shouldn't be anything on for O'Hara, but he beats one man, gets away from Ian Robinson's tackle, and Watkinson and Hartley have to come over and make the tackle. Edmonds, and now comes Proctor and Crooks. Crooks is really been a strong man for Hull. Steve Norton, ball patted on, but David Laws picks up. It was a fisted pass really from Kemble. Laws just can't get away. Harkin dummying one way, and the tackle comes in, And that really has been the feature of this second half. Hull's tackling has been quite tremendous, but here comes Kelly, and Kelly on the break from that pass from Broadhurst, and once again Kemble makes the tackle with Prome sniffing outside for the pass. He wanted that pass from Kelly. Watkinson back to Hall. All a bit pedestrian this from Rovers, but Hall beating one man, beating two men, and Steve Hartley comes in. But a good tackle once more from Sterling. Mike Smith and Broadhurst can't take it, and Hull come away. Luluai to O'Hara inside, and O'Hara to Proctor, and Fairbairn makes the tackle. But once again Hull looking so sharp, so alive. Luluai, and this could be more danger for Rovers as Akoi comes in. And a good tackle this time by Prome on Akoi. Patrick to Edmonds, and Edmonds slips the ball away. And Schofield, well, it's going anywhere, but it's going backwards. It's all okay. Schofield and Mike Smith comes in. Mike Smith and Watkinson wrap up Schofield. No time this time for the Hull centre. Peter Sterling, a good little kick through the middle, and Sterling, well, if that one had gone straight, well, it could still be on for Sterling. He slips the ball to Luluai, and a chance here, and a good tackle indeed by Fairbairn, and it had to be, because that would have been a try. And once again Sterling's there, and that looked like an obstruction, and the touch judge says yes. Robinson went in on Sterling, and the penalty to Hull, well, only a matter of 2 or 3 yards from the line. And Ian Robinson didn't like it, neither did David Laws, who said something, and the touch judge has called the referee's attention to that, and Mr. Lindop calling David Laws over to him. And so Laws makes his long way over to the referee, and I think he's been sent off. And David Laws goes, and the referee signals 10, so it looks like he's been sent off for 10 minutes in the sin bin. David Laws, obviously for what he said, the touch judge there, but of course that's as good as a sending off now, because there's only something like 4 or 5 minutes left of this game, and he's got 10 minutes in the sin bin. And this could be a try for Hull as Proctor, and the ball just flies anyway, but Burton, and that must be offside. Mike Smith coming from behind the man, but the referee, well, he lets it go. But really, Rovers very lucky. That was a penalty without a doubt, as Broadhurst comes out from his own line. Broadhurst plays the ball. Mike Smith to Burton, and Burton, well, if he could have got the ball away to Ian Robinson, there might have been a chance for Rovers to make a bit of ground. As it is, the referee gives the penalty for holding down, and George Fairbairn will kick for touch, and appear in some relief for Rovers, because really they were in a position of real danger once again. Now then, Watkinson. Is there going to be some consolation for Rovers in the dying minutes? No, there isn't, because there goes the hooter. Hull have won the Yorkshire Cup for the 3rd year running. A tremendous recovery by Hull FC. They looked down and out after half an hour when Hull KR had built that 12-0 lead, but they've come storming back. They've taken control of the second half, and they've deservedly won the Phillips Video Yorkshire Cup final by 29 points to 12, in a quite sensational game, and probably one of the best recoveries you'll ever see in a cup final.